In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I was able to generate one of my clients $300,000 in 3 weeks from a completely private launch where I did not use any VSL, any fancy funnels, and it was all completely organic. So stay tuned for this video because I'm going to be showing you literally step by step on what I did so you can copy my exact same process or system so you can also make your first dollar with your client and scale them to past six figures. Okay, so this is my very first Loom video. So I hope you guys, grab some popcorn, get some food and can actually watch this through because it is very valuable. Even though I didn't add a lot of information, you will still learn from it and you will still be able to scale your client to past six figures. Okay, so as I mentioned prior to this, I actually did $100,000 in 2 days, $55,000 in a single day, $157,000 in a week, and again, the $300,000 in 21 days. And I did this while skiing in, well, guess where? Switzerland, right? It was my very first time out in Europe. Spent it with the boys. It was an amazing experience. What was not fun though was the time difference. I was 6 hours ahead of Eastern time, and I was 9 hours ahead of PST time. I was on a meeting at like 4 a.m. pretty much every other day. So it was a pain in the ass, but we made it through, okay? And just so you know, people didn't believe me, but we booked 90 calls through email in a single day, okay? Just so you know that what I am talking about will actually be beneficial to you and your client, your business, whoever may be watching this video. Okay, so I completely forgot to add the official numbers on the screen. So you can see the 100,000, but I didn't put the $300,000. So as you can see on our Airtable tracking, $308,000. Same thing right here from people joining in for the price point. It is currently 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. I'm currently editing this video, so I completely forgot to add those numbers. So as you can see, they're there. I no longer have access to the WAP, of course, because I no longer work with this client, but just so you can see the numbers and everything like that, right? So the first thing that I did was understand what the client was doing, right? Prior to that, there was no offer made. Okay. So when there's no offer, there's no prior, revenue generated. You might have a thought, but you first want to have some form of market research, right? Doing these calls that I used to do back in the day, like over a year ago now, where I will get on these 30-minute meetings to ask these, people from my clients' audiences questions to genuinely do market research and craft an offer doesn't work anymore, right? You want to make sure that, you build and craft an offer that is truly to like 10% of your audience that really, really, really wants it and is going to really make a change, right? Because if you make this for like just like a blue ocean offer, right, where you're just genuinely making an offer for everyone to, go through the funnel, you're not going to make as much money through your launch. You want to target a single person, someone that has a problem, has the money, and wants to fix it right then and there, right? An example that I can give you is a trader, right? If a trader has, bad risk management, he started trading with his own capital, is losing money, right? He's already trading. So he understands, everything that deals with trading and stuff like that, whether it's options or futures or whatever it may be, type of style of trader. You will target specifically that form of person, someone that's struggling and not profitable, and make them profitable with your program, right? So with this specifically, we were targeting people that were already doing wholesale real estate. Okay. I just want to make sure you understand that. So we created a wait list, and I will show you the questions and everything like that. And that allowed us to craft an irresistible offer, collect leads, and launch within like 7 days. Okay. That's how crazy this shit went. Okay. Literally all that in a matter of a week, right? Setting up everything. So you collect leads, right? And the traffic sources for us specifically were extremely simple. It was IG stories, IG reels, and TikTok. It wasn't YouTube. It wasn't email. It wasn't anything. You simply want to promote this every other day for 1 week leading up to your launch. Okay. It's that simple. If your client has YouTube, if your client has an email list, it literally is completely different from everyone. But I am telling you exactly how we did it because it was just TikTok and Instagram. Okay. You're going to have a simple type form, right? It could be in a funnel or it could just be a normal type form. It was just a type form. And you're going to ask these questions specifically, right? One is obviously, enter your details to get access, right? What I put is complete this quick survey for early access to our X date release. So at the time was December 9th, revealing the secrets I used to build a seven-figure wholesaling business, right? You ask all these questions, and I do this for most of my clients. Really just depends on the offer, right? Do you currently run a wholesaling business? Yes or no? How old are you? What's your biggest struggle? And it goes by logic depending on the answers, right? Yes and no, whatever it may be. Here you get their current income. Here you get how much capital they're currently being able to invest into a mentorship, into also, software tools and things that, you have to use for, wholesaling real estate, right? To build a wholesaling real estate business, whatever it is that you want to call, right? So after they submit it, you want to have a thank you video. Okay. You want to have, this is just a simple 2-step funnel. I've seen a lot of people actually in the info space have just like a submission screen. I mean, not the best, am I right? So you want to have a thank you video, really just maybe around 2 to 5 minutes explaining the next steps, showcasing results, and building scarcity or whatever it may be, right? Sending an SMS, sending an email, all that to make sure that they understand what's the next step. Okay, they're getting a word from the actual person, the actual creator, the actual client. What the next step is going to be. Like, okay, I just signed up for this. What am I supposed to wait for? Okay, so a week prior, this is what they went through. Okay, just to kind of make it make sense to you. Then obviously there are emails played a big part of this. The open rate was insane. It was like 60-70%. It was really, really good. So emails played a very, very big part of this. I just got, as you saw, 90 book calls in a single day. It played a really, really big part. Okay, and it was an email list of about 400 people. I just want you to understand that about 400 to 500 people signed up in a matter of a week for this offer. Okay, you're going to simply have a welcome email. This is something that I crafted before, right? Whatever it may be. And then you want to have nurturing emails, one per day. And this is how I like to do my pre-launch, right? So just copywriting 101. I'm not the best copywriter. I'm probably will say I'm like a 6 or 7 or whatever it may be. Hey, at least 90 people booked through the fucking emails. You want to tease as long as possible. You want to drop hints and teases into your regular emails, and only specifically start pre-selling the offer within 1 week of public launch, right? So we truly never really launch publicly, okay? Because we booked so many calls through email and through everything, we didn't really launch publicly because all our revenue the first week was all private. Then we literally did a story after that week saying, hey, there's still a few spots left. Pretty much everyone that went through the waitlist already came in. Here's the link. Literally wasn't in the link in bio. It was through stories. And guess what? We made an extra over 100 fucking grand through just public launch that next 2 weeks of just a simple story post, okay? And just following up with people and stuff like that, right? But how I like to do it is anticipation, right? So there is just teasing before the launch or public launch or pre-launch or whatever it is, right? Then you want to announce it. You want to have build some interest and desire. You want to build some urgency, and you want to build FOMO, right? So those are the 5 emails that I, sent even after those 90 calls that were booked, right? Because it will be anticipation. And then the second email, the announcement, was the one, that booked 90 calls in a single day. Okay. So I just want you guys to understand that. Then afterwards, these are the softwares that you're going to need. Nothing crazy. I mean, you should already have some form of CRM. I personally use GHL. I've tried Close before. Whatever it is that works for you. I'm really just a workflow guy. I like the back end stuff. So Close really works for, sales reps and stuff like that. I personally also use Allaware for dialing system. Zapier, of course, Typeform, Calendly. You could use ConvertKit or Beehive to send your emails out. And I use Notion for all of my SOPs. I know some guys use maybe Google Sheets or Google Docs or whatever it may be for the SOPs and tracking or whatever. I personally use Notion. For my tracking, I use Airtable. So it's really down to your liking as well. But obviously, like as I mentioned, these questions build up your offer, okay? So it builds up your irresistible offer, because then you're going to see, okay, where can I price this offer at that is going to allow people to pay no matter what? The one thing that you want is pips. So if you're gonna give someone an incentive or a bonus or a percentage of or whatever if they pay. You know what I'm saying? If they do payment plans, it's simple. You can do like some form of like interest or whatever it may be. Doesn't really matter, right? You could charge 3K now, 3K next month, or whatever it is. But obviously, like how you want to frame the entire pre-launch or private launch is early bird pricing, right? Mentioning like, hey, it's $5,000 now. When it releases to the public, it's gonna be 8,000 or whatever it may be. I currently run an offer, trading offer that is an $8,000 ticket. So trust me, there's a lot of offers out there that are even charging 25,000 as their back end off sale. So it's pretty intense, right? So this is what we came up with, something that we literally crafted up within a few days, just so that whenever sales guys are in the calls, they understand the deliverables of the program. Okay, and then you obviously want to have mid-tier offer, right? A mid-tier package, just so your average order value can be between 3 to 4 thousand, maybe 3,700, 3,500. You always want to make sure your AOV is above 3,000. That's something that I go with for any of the offers that I work with. It really also depends towards your ICP. This, just so you guys can understand, for this client specifically, was about 100,000 followers, a little bit less, but it was a very, very cold-like following. So the ICP and the engagement was extremely, extremely good, right? Just the ideal client persona, profile, whatever you may call them. They fit the criteria of this offer extremely well. So that kind of worked in our favor. But besides that, obviously you're gonna launch the offer. And this is just how the private launch went, right? So through private launching, the day before the launch, you want to do that anticipation email that I mentioned, right? Just pretty much saying like, hey, stay tuned for tomorrow at this certain time, whatever it is that you might be calling it, the formula or whatever whatever the blueprint, whatever your program is called, you want to make sure you name that in pretty much every email. And you also want to anticipate the launch time and the launch date. And this email got sent out on Sunday, and then Monday was the actual like announcement, right? So launch day, you can do the emails, you dial obviously everyone in the wait list, and you can do an IG story sequence or whatever it may be. All we simply did was send an email out, and then I swear to everything, I wish I was lying, we booked the entire 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, out. And we were like, okay, there's no point of doing an IG story right now because it's stupid. But obviously, that's just what you would like to do. And we still dial people up that day as well, right? So obviously, day one result, 93 calls in a single day. 93 calls booked, all through email, 50K cash collected. I think it was 55,000. So the 50,000 happened in the other day. But here is pretty much the fourth step that I will follow differently depending on the client or depending on the offer you're running. Will be just an IG story sequence, which would notify the waitlist members specifically. So what I would do is just simply put in like, hey, if you signed up to the waitlist, check your emails, check your SMS, whatever it may be. I had the surprise for you, whatever it happened. And I would just tease that because other people that are looking at the stories, they're going to be like, wait, what do you mean like waitlist members, yada, yada, yada. And I wouldn't even, launch publicly. Mind you, this is all public. I mean, this is all private. Sorry. You obviously want to do emails, application built within Calendly. So what we did is that rather than sending them through a whole application just because they already went through a Typeform before, we simply sent them to a Calendly and built the application on there with like a few questions. You can only max out 10 questions, with Calendly, including phone number. So we asked like 6 questions, like how much they make a month, their current like real estate knowledge, stuff like that, and how much they're able to invest. And they book the call, and then we can see that obviously. And then you want to dial the wait list and filter it out. Go with obviously the more hotter leads first, then the colder leads. And obviously you want to cold leads, qualify them, build urgency and desire, and manually book them on calls, and follow that entire sales process. I would love to show you my sales process, but I can't because I paid money for it. And, maybe in the next video, I will show you, the sales process that allows me to have way over 80% show up rate. Well, for this specific offer, closing rate was literally like 70%. For another offer that I have, closing rate is about 60, 70%. But for other offers, 50%, whatever it may be, something average. But Genuinely, sales plays a big part of this, because if you don't have an actual sales team or a sales system in place or process, I promise you, you're not going to be able to do big numbers. And with the $300,000, you may seem that a lot. We could have done a lot more. We could have done 400 in a matter of the entire month, which, by the way, we were still selling people literally on Christmas Day and stuff like that. Like, it was rough. Obviously, if it was launched in a different time, we probably would have made like half a mil. That would have been really, really nice. But, you know, choosers can be beggars, right? So obviously that's just a system that we passed specifically, right? And then after that, you kind of want to go all the way over here, right, with the sales, like I mentioned. Um, the first things first is you want to have a sales team placement and training management, right? So for this specific offer, we had $2 and 3 closers. You want to dial people as quickly as possible. I am talking about, like, okay, they're expecting, they get SMS, they get emails, they're expected to be hit up Monday. I am talking about Monday, Tuesday are the only days you should be calling people. You know what I'm saying? Like ASAP. But unfortunately, Monday and Tuesday were booked the fuck out. So then we're like, hold up, motherfuckers are gonna forget, right? So we had three closers, and literally all these calls were booked out. Okay, Monday, Tuesday, insane to me, right? So it was definitely tricky. So obviously, like, the show up rate sunk at the end of the week, or the next week or some shit like that, because of it, because the calendar was fucking being booked out. We didn't expect to have so many people, so I would have definitely added a lot more people into the sales team. But when it comes to launches, I usually have $2, 2 closers, because I've never done an actual big launch for this specific client. I didn't think it was going to be as big as I expected it to be like that. So I probably would have had like 6 closers, and, like, there was only like 400, 500 people. So like $2, $3 would have been completely fine to get through like 500 leads in like 2 days. You could even get that shit through a day. So it didn't really matter. Then you want to have team training. So I'm literally just going towards, if you're a marketer, operator, copywriter, sales guy, whoever you want to call yourself, or even if you're, an offer owner, you need to have SOPs. I'm very, very big on back end stuff. I'm very organized when it comes to, analytics and tracking everything, because even the smallest mistake is going to cost you a lot of money. Okay. And that's the reason why, with all the clients that I work with, I track everything. So I make sure that, okay, I can see the bottleneck here. Let's fix it next week, and then it's fixed. Really just depends, because sometimes it doesn't get fixed right away. But full SOPs, giving them the creator's backstory, and training them on expected objections. Right. When it comes to this, you want to have your client or the creator obviously record a video about their past story, how they came up, stuff like that. Just so that the sales guys understand um who they're selling to, the audience, and who the actual creator is, to get to know them a little bit more, and then treat them on expected objections. When it comes to like wholesale real estate, it's going to be like, hey, can I start with $0, or I have to, obviously, like, thinking about it and fucking logistics and all that bullshit. Like, that happens for every call, but those are not real objections, right? Time is going to be an issue, because you have to put in a lot of time when it comes to like real estate. That's something that people weren't trying to do. So an objection like that, where it's like, hey, don't worry, we have VAs that you can place, because that's something that we have in the offer and all this stuff, yada yada yada. So we combat it through there. So just expected objections. Time was obviously going to be the biggest one. Then obviously SOPs on training them on the offer, your audience, and how to sell to this specific ICP or niche or whatever. Those are just full SOPs, training, video training, and also calls every single day to make sure that we're prepared for that specifically, right? You want to hire people that either sold in that specific niche before, or industry, or whatever it may be. Real estate is very known. So there was a lot of guys that have, done wholesale real estate before, or have closed for maybe real estate investing or Section 8 before, and it was a lot easier for us, right? Right here, team management. Make sure KPIs are being hit, daily team meetings, and assessing any bottlenecks in the team, and fixing and replacing them, right? That is what team managers do, or just entirely what the whole concept of team management does. Okay, sorry, I'm not very good with when it comes to speaking for a very long time. Okay, guys, but um, one of my biggest struggles as a marketer, as an operator was a few months ago was team management, was sales management, pretty much everything. I didn't know shit about sales, okay? So I started getting training on it. I made sure that I hired people to train, my specific team and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, I'm not the best sales guy at all. I am not the best marketer at all, but I know for a fact I will be one of the best marketers. I will be one of the best sales guys. Okay. So that's just how you have to think. But at the end of the day, you can't be delusional all the time. It's good to be delusional, but you want to make your client money at the end of the day. So obviously, you want to make sure that your team understand the target. Our target was 300,000. So we hit that. We obviously way past that with revenue. So at least they understand. They understood that specifically. Then obviously tracking data and analytics. Now some people may ask me, yo, why do I have to track it? Why? It's just a launch, yada, yada, yada. Well, it's very important. Every good business tracks every piece of data to detect bottlenecks so they know where to improve. It's that simple. You want to show your client, you want to show them to make sure that they're like, hey, what happened in this call? Oh, it had this happen. And yet you want to have that all set up for them so they don't have to go out of their way and ask you what happened throughout the launch, where were the bottlenecks, what we should fix for the next launch, and yada, 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 whatever. It's that simple. If you're not tracking shit and you don't know analytics, I'm sorry to tell you that I actually broke it down for you. Okay. Here are the numbers to track. It's very, very simple. There's a lot more to this when it comes to running ads and actually running a full stack sales team and an info offer doing $250,000, $500,000, $1 million a month. It looks different for every single company. Okay. But the easiest things to track are pickup rates, daily dials, hang up rate, qualified call rate, disqualify rate, number of calls pitched to number of calls booked, average number of dials to book calls, and then obviously commission for your dialers. Okay, so that's for dialing specifically. You want to have conversion rates on your funnel, right? So for example, like your completion rate on your type forms, okay, and conversion rates on your funnels and the view rate on your VSL and all that bullshit. But we didn't have all that shit. We didn't even have a VSL, so it didn't really matter. Okay, so for closing, it's very important. Calls booked, calls taken, disqualify rate, show rate, closing rate, average order value, like I mentioned before, cash collected, revenue generated, and commission for your sale for your closers. It's that simple. There's a lot more that you can add and stuff like that, but these are just the basics that you should have before launching an offer. So you're not looking around trying to find your show rate, looking around trying to find your closing rate, looking around, oh, how much do I have to pay this person, when it's all automatically done for you if you set up the right systems in place. Okay. Now I know this video is going extremely long, right? So I'm not going to show you the entire sales process that I have, but I'm going to show you the dialing system. Okay. This is the last thing I'm going to show you. The dialing system, like I mentioned, is all over. So it's very, very simple. You're going to call the prospect. They're either going to pick up or they're not. Okay. They're either going to hang up or they're not. Okay. So simple. Let's just say they pick up. You're going to go through the entire setting process. You're going to go, if qualify, book a call with our closer. If unqualified, you want to downsell them to the mid-ticket offer, okay? At this point in time, we didn't have a mid-ticket offer, but let's just say you're scaling, okay? Let's just say you're scaling and you have 2 high-ticket offers, 1 mid-ticket offer, and 1 monthly MRR offer, okay? You're simply going to downsell them to the mid-ticket offer, or you're going to downsell them to payment plans or financing, whatever it is that you're offering for your launch or high-ticket offer, whatever it may be, right? If purchase, you want to add to the mid-ticket purchase nurture flow to eventually upsell to high-ticket. This is where a lot of people go wrong, okay? There's not many guys that know or deal with pipeline management, okay? If someone buys a mid-ticket, are you tracking, like, the average that it takes someone that's a mid-ticket purchaser to like go up to the high ticket, right? So for one of my clients that deals with trading specifically, when someone buys a mid-ticket offer, within 3 months, we've noticed that they go up into the $8,000 offer. Okay, so it's not easy for them to go from 1,000 to 8,000, but it's easier for someone to go from 500 to 3,000, right? Which is like the average offers when it comes to info. Could be trading, could be e-com, could be whatever, right? But for another offer that I do, I know that on average, someone that purchased the $1,000 offer goes up to the 8,000, whether it's on payment plan or through the discount that we offer,
because it's talked to you on the call. You know what I'm saying? So that's just on average what we noticed. But I want to make sure that you guys are tracking that as well. Okay. Now, obviously, if they don't purchase, you want to add to, didn't purchase Nurture Flow, the disqualified didn't purchase Nurture Flow to keep them in the loop, provide free value, and eventually get them on a call to close, which is just a long term game, aka just a simple um, newsletter. My fucking brain froze. Just a simple newsletter. You can just add them to that. Sorry. Jeez, man, I've been talking for so long. If they did not pick up, right, you're going to send a voicemail, an SMS, and you're going to add them to the unanswered calls stage. Again, pipeline management. Your pipeline may look a lot different than mine, okay? So it really just depends. If they respond, goes through what I just showed you. Then every 24 hours, you want to make sure that, you kind of have a whole setup, automation setup, like a workflow, whatever it may be. You go through all this, right? Didn't pick up. Add to follow-up pipeline, nurture flow to keep in contact with them until they answer or take action. Right here is the purpose. Purpose of this is because we must call them for 3 days in a row. If we don't, we will miss out on a ton of pickups. It keeps everything optimized to hit our max potential, aka our sales target. Okay. So it's very, very simple. I hope that kind of described what we did throughout our launch. And when it comes to sales, it's a whole different game. But that's how we were able to generate $300,000. I mean, it's that easy. Okay, there was no VSL. Okay, there was no fancy funnel. There was nothing. There was no crazy follow up sequence. It's either you get in now or get the fuck out. Okay, because that's what a launch is. You're not trying to have your whole audience on here. You really have to understand the type of launch you're gonna do. Okay, a lot of people think like 2 fucking months ahead when it comes to a launch. Like, are you trying to build a boot camp? Okay. Let me give you an example when it comes to trading, just because I have 3 trading clients. Okay. When it comes to that, people do six week programs, 4 week programs, 8 week programs. For those specific programs, when it comes to boot camps or masterminds, that means that that person already trusts you and they understand you're a good marketer and they understand the work that you do. So it's obviously going to take a lot more thought process. You're actually going to have a VSL. You're actually going to have a dialed in sales team and a dialed in system. But if you're just building a cohort, right? A cohort, whatever that is that you call it, right? Which is what this was, you're not going to build all those fancy shit. Okay. That goes after it. This is all private. Okay. I just want to make sure you guys understand that there's 2 different types of launches, a public launch and a private launch and a cohort. Okay. I guess those 3, but realistically, what we just did was a private launch. Okay. That we didn't have to do all that bullshit because we didn't have an actual offer. Okay. We didn't have an offer. The offer owner, he didn't have an offer. Okay. So obviously you're not just going to do this big launch and promote it for 6 weeks and make $1 million. It doesn't fucking work like that. There's no results. By the way, also, there's no results. Motherfuckers bought with no results. So they understood who they were buying from, and that's where the cult like following came from. Like, there's literally no results, okay? I just want you guys to understand that. Okay, I hope that you guys do, because I don't want you to think that you're gonna get these same results. Just follow the same fucking process I just showed you, and I promise you, if your client has enough traffic, you're gonna do 6 figures. If you're like, I've done this process with another trading client, and we did $100,000 in a single month. Okay, we did $50,000 in 2 weeks, and it was with a way shorter audience, with like 50,000 followers, and not crazy of a lead flow. So it really just depends to who your offer owner is and the offer that you're and the people that you're actually targeting as well. Okay. Anyways, that was it for the video. If you guys want any help, DM me on Instagram, Jackson X Luna. I'm not selling you anything. I am literally giving you all the fucking details on how my agency is doing way over $50,000 a month now, how I was able to do way over $1 million in sales in cash in the month of January of this year. And this quarter 1, we did way over $2 million for 3 of our clients. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Don't expect these type of videos a lot from me. I just kind of want to give a throughout video of everything I did. So you can do the same as well and understand how we were able to collect that amount of money, and how, if I were to do this right now with any type of client, I will not get the similar result as 300,000, really depending on, the traffic, but I will for sure do six figures because that's just what we guarantee all of our clients. So I hope that helped. DM me on Instagram, comment down below what you want to see next, and peace out, man.